The gunshot tore through the air before anyone understood what was happening. Jaemin froze, his breath slicing in his throat as the crowd scattered into chaotic motion. Tables flipped, high heels clattered against the marble floor, and colorful fabrics fluttered like frantic birds. Music stopped mid-beat. Screams rose. The entire wedding hall shook with fear. But Jaemin didn't move, not because he was brave, but because he wasn't used to this kind of unpredictability. Nothing in his controlled billionaire life had prepared him for a Nigerian wedding that had turned wild in seconds. Then, just as abruptly as the chaos began, laughter erupted. It wasn't gunfire, it was fireworks. Colorful fireworks launched from the side of the hall, exploding into glittering rain. People returned to their seats with embarrassed chuckles. A child ran by, shouting, "It's for the couple! It's for the couple!" Jaemin blinked, completely disoriented. His body was locked, his heart racing. He felt foolish for reacting like he'd been ambushed. He wasn't used to surprises, celebrations, or noise. His events in Korea were polished, quiet, refined, practically silent compared to this universe of sound. And now he stood in the middle of it, wearing a black designer suit that suddenly felt too tight. He shouldn't have come. That was his first thought. But then he saw her. Before Jaemin even processed how or why, his eyes locked on the woman in emerald green lace standing near the dance floor. She wasn't frightened like everyone else. She wasn't trying to regain her breath or straighten her hair. She was laughing, head tilted back, hands on her waist, sparkling eyes full of mischief. Her laughter wasn't loud, but it cut through the noise like a melody. She had no idea that a foreign billionaire was staring at her like she was the only thing in the room worth noticing. Jaemin couldn't look away. He had never seen someone glow the way she did. It was as if she wasn't just part of the wedding. She was the warmth, the movement, the heartbeat of it. He felt his stomach tighten in a way that made no logical sense. This should have been nothing more than a business obligation. Attend the wedding, show respect to his Nigerian business partner, smile politely, leave before things became uncomfortable. That was the plan. But his plan collapsed the moment the fireworks went off, and she smiled at them like she owned their light. She reached down to lift a small child who ran into her arms. Her laughter softened, and the way she kissed the child's forehead made something melt inside him. Something he didn't know existed. He needed to know her name. When she placed the child down and resumed dancing, Jaemin realized he was still standing frozen like a statue in the middle of the hall. People brushed past him, but he didn't move. He couldn't. He didn't believe in love at first sight. He didn't believe in fate. He didn't believe in irrational emotion, but looking at her, he found himself doubting every belief he had ever held. A hand tapped his shoulder. He nearly jumped. Bros, relax now," the cheerful man said with a grin. "You look like you saw a ghost." Jaemin swallowed awkwardly. I am fine." "Fine? My brother, your spirit has traveled. You no day here again." The man laughed and walked away, leaving Jaemin even more confused. He tried to regain composure, smoothing a hand over his suit, but his gaze returned to her instantly. Who was she? His business partner, Tundi, spotted him and walked over. "My guy, you made it. Welcome to our madness." Jaemin nodded stiffly. His voice was lower than usual. "Who is that?" Tunde followed his line of sight. When he saw the woman in green, he smiled knowingly. Amara, bride's cousin. That one? Trouble." Jaemin wasn't sure if trouble was meant as a warning or a compliment, but either way, he understood it. She moved with a confidence he couldn't explain. Her movements weren't forced. She danced like joy lived inside her bones. She didn't try to stand out, yet she was the only person he saw. He took a step toward her, then another. His heartbeat grew faster with each step. He wasn't a man who hesitated, Billionaires didn't freeze. CEOs didn't rethink their decisions. But his feet felt heavier the closer he got. What if she thought he was strange? What if she didn't want to speak to him? What if she already had someone? He hated that the thought bothered him. He reached her just as the music switched to a faster beat. She spun around, bumping into him lightly. She looked up, and for a moment her face froze. He expected shock, maybe recognition, maybe curiosity. He got none. She simply blinked at him and said, "Ah, sorry, oh, are you okay?" Before he could answer, she looked him up and down, confused. "Were you looking for someone?" Her tone carried zero flirtation, zero interest, zero awareness that he had practically stopped breathing because of her. Jae-min bowed instinctively. She gasped loudly. "Ah, please don't do that. Why are you bending like that? Stand up." He straightened so fast he nearly stumbled. She laughed lightly, the sound warm enough to pull another breath out of him. She didn't mean to make fun of him. She simply found him amusing. Jaemin's face heated. Not even shareholders made him nervous. Yet this woman, this Nigerian stranger, had reduced him to awkward fumbling. "I wanted to say hello," he managed. "Hello," she replied with a bright smile, then turned as someone called her name. She walked away. She walked away. Jae-min stood there, stunned. She didn't ask who he was. She didn't care that he was a billionaire. She didn't glance back. For a man who lived in a world where everyone chased his attention, being ignored was the most shocking thing that had happened all night. He watched her disappear into the crowd, his chest tightening with an unfamiliar ache. He realized something with the sharpness of a knife. He couldn't leave this wedding without speaking to her again. He wouldn't. And just like that, the calm, controlled billionaire felt something he had never felt before. Panic, curiosity, desire. A strange, electric pull he couldn't explain. He stepped back into the crowd to find her again. But he didn't know that finding her would be the easy part. Keeping her in his life, that would be the real challenge. Jae-min pushed through the crowd, trying to appear normal, though nothing about him felt normal anymore. Everywhere he looked, people were laughing, dancing, shouting, spraying money, taking pictures. It was overwhelming, but he kept scanning for her. Amara. The wedding hall felt like a maze. Every time he thought he saw the green of her dress, it turned out to be someone else. He had never chased anyone in his life. People chased him. Investors, journalists, women, businessmen, the media. But this unfamiliar feeling in his chest, this wasn't chasing. This was yearning. He hated how desperate he felt. Just when he began to wonder if she had left the wedding, he heard her laugh again. It wasn't loud, but he recognized it instantly. His head snapped toward the sound, and there she was, near the food buffet, teasing another woman as they tasted something spicy. Amara dipped a spoon into a bowl of stew and playfully waved it in front of her friend. "Taste it now. Don't be scared." The friend hesitated. "Last time you did this, I almost cried." "You'll survive," Amara said with a grin. The friend tasted it and immediately let out a dramatic scream. "Amara, this pepper will kill somebody." Amara burst into laughter, bending over with joy. And just like that, Jae-min felt warmth settle into his chest again. He didn't know how it worked, but she seemed to carry sunlight inside her body. Even her smallest gestures felt brighter than anything else happening around him. He walked toward her slowly, trying not to look like a man on a mission. He rehearsed what to say, but every sentence sounded ridiculous. He finally reached her as she picked up a plate for herself. "Excuse me?" he said gently. She looked up, slightly surprised. "Oh, it's you again, the bowing guy." His cheeks warmed. "Yes, though I am trying not to do that anymore." She nodded approvingly. "Better." He opened his mouth to say something meaningful, something intelligent, but she cut him off. "Please hold this plate for me," she said, handing him her plate without waiting for his response. He blinked in confusion but took it. She pointed to one of the jollof pots. "Is that one the softer rice or the hard one? Because some people have decided to turn jollof into stone." He stared helplessly at the row of food, having no idea. She didn't wait for him to figure it out. She moved smoothly toward the caterer. "Auntie, I beg help me. Give me the soft jollof, not the one that will scatter my tooth." The caterer laughed. "Don't worry, my dear, I got you." Amara took the plate back from him. "Thank you." "You're welcome," he replied quietly. He wished he sounded more confident, but she made his voice softer without trying. She glanced at him sideways. "So, what exactly brought you to this wedding? You don't look like somebody that knows how to party." He hesitated. "My business partner invited me. I am visiting Nigeria." She shrugged. "Okay, that makes sense." She didn't react to the word business partner. She didn't ask what kind of business he did. She didn't ask about his wealth or status or achievements, and that alone made her feel different from anyone he had ever met. They moved down the buffet line. She pointed at the pot of stew. "Don't take that one." "Why?" he asked. "Because unless you want your mouth to burn, just avoid it." He frowned curiously. "Burn?" She grinned. "Try it." He scooped a tiny bit. The moment it touched his tongue, his soul tried to leave his body. His eyes widened. He coughed. His face turned red. Amara burst out laughing. "I warned you." He grabbed a bottle of water and drank half of it in one gulp. People nearby stared as he fanned his mouth with his hand. Amara laughed harder. "Ah! Sorry-o. Next time, listen to me." Despite the pain, he found himself laughing too. When he finally regained control, he looked at her, really looked at her. The way her shoulders shook when she laughed, the way her eyes brightened, the dimples in her cheeks. She was stunning in motion. He cleared his throat. "You enjoy laughing at me." "No, it's not you," she said. "It's your reaction." She moved ahead to pick a drink. He followed. She said, "So what's your name anyway? Or should I call you Mr. Fireworks?" He blinked. "Why fireworks?" "You look like someone who would explode if given too much stress." He chuckled softly. "My name is Jamin." She repeated it gently, almost perfectly. Jamin. Hearing his name in her mouth made something flutter inside him. He smiled shyly. "And you?" "Amara." He whispered her name slowly. Ma-ra." Her lips curved. "Not bad." He opened his mouth to ask if he could sit with her after she ate, but suddenly a tall, confident Nigerian man approached and put an arm around her shoulders. "There you are," the man said. "I've been looking everywhere." Amara stiffened slightly. "Cheek, remove your hand." Cheek ignored the warning. "Why? Are you embarrassed? After all the time we've spent together?" Jamin felt a sharp, unfamiliar spike of jealousy. He didn't know why. He barely knew this woman. But the idea of someone else claiming her made something twist in his stomach. Amara stepped away from Cheek. "Don't touch me without asking." Cheek frowned, then looked at Jamin with obvious annoyance. "Who's this one? Your new project?" Amara hissed quietly. "Don't be stupid." Cheeky stepped closer, staring at Jamin with the kind of challenge men gave when they felt threatened. "You don't belong here," Cheeky said. "This is our wedding, our culture, our people. I don't know what you're trying to do, but it won't work." Jamin's jaw tightened. "I am only speaking with her. And I'm telling you to stop." Amara stepped between them. "Cheek, leave now." Cheek scoffed. "We'll talk later." He glared at Jamin before storming off. Jamin's pulse was still racing. "Is he your boyfriend?" Amara snorted. God forbid. He's just a guy who has refused to hear no. Don't mind him. Jaemin let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. She picked up her drink and gave him a small smile. Don't worry about him. He acts tough, but he's harmless. I didn't like the way he spoke to you. Amara raised a brow. Are you jealous? His silence was answer enough. She laughed softly, shaking her head. Relax, it's just a wedding, nothing serious. But she was wrong. To him, everything about this was becoming very serious, because the more he stood close to her, the more he felt the dangerous truth rising inside him. He didn't want this to be just a wedding moment. He wanted more, much more. For a heartbeat after the music stopped, neither of them moved. Jaemin's hand was still hovering near her waist, her fingers still curled in the air where his had been. Around them, the wedding hall roared back to life. Laughter, clinking cutlery, the MC joking into the microphone, but it all sounded distant, like it was happening underwater. He blinked first, stepping back just enough to breathe. I'm sorry, he said softly. His accent wrapped strangely around the English words. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You didn't, she lied, shoulders stiff. At least not more than there already is. She followed his gaze. Her aunt was watching from across the hall, face pinched, whispering urgently to her mother. A cluster of older women turned to look at her, their expressions a mix of curiosity and disapproval. Jaemin's jaw tightened, that familiar business-like focus sliding over his features, the same one he probably wore in boardrooms when people underestimated him. Then let me fix what I can, he murmured. Before she could ask what he meant, he straightened, his entire posture shifting from man to mogul. He walked toward her family table with the calm certainty of someone used to walking into hostile negotiations and leaving with signatures. Her heart dropped. No, 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 she whispered, following him in a panic. Her mother rose as he approached, giving him a polite, wary smile. Her aunt's eyes narrowed. Good evening, he said carefully. I hope I'm not interrupting. You are not, her mother replied, though her tone said otherwise. Can we help you? He glanced at the woman beside her mother, the one whose eyes had held so much sharp judgment all evening. You are her aunt? He asked. The one who thinks I'm using her. Her aunt's brows shot up. Ah, so she told you. He gave a small, respectful bow of his head. I understand your concern. Where I come from, men like me also have a reputation. His lips curved in a self-aware almost smile. Sometimes deserved. Her aunt folded her arms. And in this case? In this case, he said, voice steady. I am not playing with her. I don't know what will happen in the future. I don't know if she will want me, or if our cultures will allow it, or if life will be kind. But I do know this. I respect her. I will not touch her without her consent. I will not lie to her, and I will not disappear without explanation. Her chest tightened. Her aunt narrowed her eyes further. Big English, we've heard it before. I'm not asking you to trust me now, he replied. I only ask that you don't punish her for my presence. Your anger should be for me, not her. The table fell silent. Even the bride's mother, seated nearby, turned to listen. Her aunt studied him like a hawk. You're serious? She asked finally. Yes. And who are you exactly? He hesitated for a moment, then glanced at the woman he had danced with as if asking permission. Her heart pounded. She gave the slightest nod. He took a breath. My name is not important now, he said, but you can Google me if you like. With that, he slid his phone across the table, open on a page showing his face beside a headline with words like Billionaire, Tech, and Forbes. Her aunt leaned in. Her mother blinked like she wasn't sure if she was dreaming. The bride's mother clasped her hand over her mouth. Omo, someone whispered behind them. Nah, real life? Her aunt looked from the screen to his face, suspicious. So you just flew here, to this our small wedding. Why? He glanced at the Nigerian woman again, his voice softening. Because my friend said I needed to see how real joy looks, he replied. And then I saw her. A murmur rippled through the table. Heat burned up the back of her neck. Her aunt clicked her tongue. This man is a smooth talker, Shah. Yes, her mother agreed, but there was a small reluctant smile tugging at her lips. But at least he's talking directly. Her mother turned to her daughter. My dear, come. The Nigerian woman stepped forward, palms damp. Her mother lowered her voice. Is he forcing you? Be honest. No, she said quickly. He's not. I'm just confused. It's a lot. Her mother searched her eyes, then exhaled. Confused is better than crying, she said. Just don't lie to yourself, and don't let romance make you stupid. Use your head, not only your heart. Do you hear me? Yes, Ma. Her mother nodded once, like a decision had been made. She turned back to Jamin. You, she said, pointing at him. If you hurt her, we will pray fire on your head, the kind of fire that crosses continents. Do you understand? He nodded solemnly. Perfectly. Good. Her mother's face softened. Now go and sit down. People are watching us live film. Laughter broke the tension. The MC yelled something dramatic over the microphone and music rushed back in. Jamin picked up his phone and stepped back, his eyes lingering on the Nigerian woman like he wasn't quite ready to break whatever new thread had formed between them. She breathed out slowly. One battle survived, a war still ahead. Hours later, when the hall had emptied and only close family remained to pack gifts and leftover food, she stepped outside for air. The distant sounds of generators hummed through the night. Fairy lights still glowed faintly around the gate. Jamin was there, leaning against a black SUV, tie loosened, suit jacket off, hair slightly mussed like he'd dragged his fingers through it more than once. You survived, he said as she approached. Barely, she sighed. Do you know you almost caused a village meeting in there? He winced. I'm sorry. She shook her head. No, you actually helped. I didn't expect that. They stood in silence for a moment, listening to the muffled sounds of distant laughter from inside. What now? He asked quietly. She gave a small, helpless laugh. What do you mean, what now? You'll go back to Korea. I'll stay here. Life will move on. Will it? His gaze searched her face. Will you be able to forget this night easily? The honest answer rose up fast and sharp. No. She swallowed it down. What about you? She countered. Will you remember this once you're back in your glass office with your serious board members? Yes, he said without hesitation. I will. That answer unsettled her more than any lie. He stepped closer, careful not to crowd her. I have to fly back in 2 days, he said. But I don't want this to end here, not as a misunderstanding at a wedding. She folded her arms, hiding how much her hands were trembling. So what do you want? A chance, he replied simply. To know you, not as a distraction, not as something forbidden, just as you. Her throat tightened. Do you have any idea how unrealistic that sounds? Long distance, different time zones, different cultures, and you… She gestured helplessly at his entire existence. You're not just some guy. You're… you. I'm still just a man, he said softly. A very busy, very stressed man who sleeps 4 hours a night and keeps wondering why all his success feels incomplete. The rawness in his voice caught her off guard. I thought it was because I hadn't reached big enough numbers, he continued. But then I came here and saw people dancing like the world wasn't ending. I saw you, laughing with your cousins, arguing with your aunt, standing up for yourself even when I made it complicated. And I realized maybe what I'm missing isn't another company. She looked away, blinking fast. "You don't even know me." "That's what I'm asking for," he said. "The chance to change that. Let me call you. Let me visit again. Come to Seoul if you want, not as decoration, as yourself." Her mind flashed with possibilities. Video calls in the middle of the night, airport reunions, translating jokes across languages, defending each other to people who didn't understand. The tension of it all pulled tight inside her chest. "It's not just about us," she said quietly. "My family, your shareholders, or whatever they're called. People will talk. People always talk." "Let them talk," he replied. "We'll be busy building something worth talking about." She stared at him, torn between fear and wild, reckless hope. "What if I say no?" she asked. He gave a small, sad smile. "Then I will respect it. I'll leave you alone. But I will still remember this night, and I'll probably still check your social media once in a while to see if you're happy." A breathy laugh escaped her. "You don't even follow me." "I will," he said, "if you let me." For a long moment, the only sound between them was the soft buzz of mosquitoes and the distant thump of music. Her heart pounded a chaotic rhythm against her ribs. She thought of the way his hand had steadied her on the dance floor, the way he had faced her aunt's fire without flinching, the way he had admitted his own emptiness without hiding behind arrogance. She also thought of the risk, of half love and half time and half commitment, of becoming a story he told at parties. "You have to understand something," she said at last. "I'm not an experiment. I'm not African spice to add flavor to your life. I'm not a phase." "I know," he replied, "and I don't want you to be. That's why I'm asking instead of assuming." She closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "One condition," she said. His shoulders straightened. "Anything." "You don't disappear," she said. "Even if it gets hard, even if people don't approve. If you need to end it, you say it to my face, or at least over a call. No ghosting, no half answers." He nodded immediately. "Agreed. And you? What's your promise?" She thought for a moment. "That I'll be honest," she said. "If I'm scared, if I'm overwhelmed, if I feel like I'm losing myself, I won't just smile and pretend everything is fine." His lips curved. "Then, is that a yes?" Her heart stuttered. She glanced back at the hall where her mother was framed in the doorway, watching them with a complicated expression. Her mother met her eyes, then gave a single slow nod before turning away to give them privacy. It felt like the universe had just ticked a box. She turned back to him. "Yes," she said finally, the words small but fierce. "It's a yes." Relief crashed over his features like a breaking wave. He let out a breathy laugh, actually looking a little stunned. "Okay," he said, almost to himself. "Okay." He pulled out his phone with the urgency of someone sealing a major deal. "Your number?" he asked. She gave it. His phone buzzed. A moment later, hers did too. A notification, a new follow, a new message. He had sent just 2 words. "Thank you." She smiled down at the screen, then slid the phone into her bag. "Don't make me regret it," she said. "I'll spend the rest of my life trying not to," he replied, and even though it sounded dramatic, something in his eyes made her believe he meant it. Days blurred into weeks after the wedding. They navigated bad network, time differences, and awkward video calls where generators died in the middle of heartfelt confessions. They taught each other words in their languages, laughed at mispronunciations, and argued about which food was superior, suya or Korean barbecue. There were tense moments too. The first time a gossip blog posted a blurry photo of them at an airport, the headlines were brutal. Comments questioned her motives, his sanity, their future. One of his board members called it a distraction. Her aunt forwarded the article with a single message: "Be careful." The pressure built until one night, on a shaky video call, she finally exploded. "Maybe this was a mistake," she snapped, tears hot and angry. "Maybe we're forcing something that shouldn't exist." He didn't argue immediately. He just looked at her, eyes tired but clear. "If you truly believe that," he said slowly, "I won't fight you. But is that what you want, or what the world wants for you?" She had no answer, just a broken sob. "I don't want a love that feels like war," she whispered. He swallowed hard. "Then let's change the battlefield." 2 weeks later, without warning, Jae-min showed up in Lagos again. No private jet photos, no public announcement. He simply walked into her family's compound in the late afternoon, dust on his shoes, a small gift bag in his hand, and nerves written all over his face. Her mother nearly dropped the tray she was carrying. "You came back?" the older woman asked, stunned. "Yes," he said. "I realized something. I've been asking her to understand my world. It's time I show her I'm willing to live in hers too." He stayed longer this time. He sat through traffic and heat and power cuts. He ate jollof that brought tears to his eyes, not from emotion, but pepper, and still asked for more. He helped her cousins carry chairs during another family event, laughing when little kids used his expensive shoes as stepping stones. Slowly, the fear in her chest loosened its grip. It was still hard. It was still messy. There were still fights and doubts and long stretches of silence when work swallowed him and responsibilities overwhelmed her. But there was also something else now, a stubborn, growing belief that maybe they could write their own story, one that didn't apologize for who they were. Months later, standing at the airport again as he prepared to fly back, she felt that familiar ache rising. "Promise me something," she said. He adjusted his coat, his expression soft. "Another one?" "Yes." "Okay, what is it?" "Whenever life gets noisy," she said softly, "we tell our own story, not the world's version. Ours." He smiled slowly, like he already had a plan. "Deal," he said. "In fact, I have an idea about that." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "If we ever get brave enough," he murmured, "we could share it. Maybe not all the details, but the heart of it. A Korean man, a Nigerian woman, a wedding, and what happened after." She laughed through the tears burning her eyes. "You think anyone would watch that?" He brushed a thumb gently over her cheek. "If they like love," he said softly, "and tension, and two stubborn people fighting for each other, they will." She watched him walk toward security, each step heavier than it looked. Just before he turned the corner, he looked back, lifted his hand, and pressed his palm to the air as though touching hers from across a distance. She lifted her palm too. It wasn't an ending. It was a beginning suspended in time, waiting for courage to catch up. And somewhere, sometime in the near future, when a story titled "The Korean Billionaire Gets Invited to a Nigerian Wedding," and then he saw her flashed on someone's screen, a new invisible thread would stretch out. From them to whoever was watching. If you want more beautiful Afro-Korean love stories like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps bring the next chapter to life.